So now we are going to have a special highlight where we get to see what is under the hood of a creative AI project. We've been speaking about them all morning. Now we get some backstage access with Olivier Blais, Head of Decision Science and co-founder of Moov AI. Welcome him warmly, please. Welcome, Olivier. Thank you so much for being with us. So AI projects, as creative as they are, need to be linked to reality. So you're going to give us some simple examples and present how this was possible for you in terms of cloning a personality with AI. So please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be there and to be able to talk about some projects that we've worked on for the past 2 or 3 years. So my name is Olivier. I don't think we see the screen. And my connection is lost. 1 second. Great. So today, I'm going to present. So first, we'll do an overview of the 2 different projects that we've been working on. The first one, it has been the first creative project I've worked on since kindergarten, okay? I'm more of a technical person, and when we got the opportunity from Sandra Rodriguez, I think she's in the room, I'm not sure, she's part of the event. Anyway, I saw her backstage, so she and Cindy Bishop, also here, they have been so kind, and they enabled Moov AI to be part of a very awesome project, which is to clone, essentially, Noam Chomsky, okay, for an experience. So Noam Chomsky is one of the great minds of our generation. He's been in so many different interviews talking about the world, talking about geopolitics, his views, and it was a great experience. So I'll show you a preview of the first project we did 2 years ago. I think it should start. Do we have the sound?
Questions. For my life, everybody wants to know. Defining intelligence is a colossal problem, way beyond the limits of our understanding. We have to be humble. We really are in a pre-Galilean stage. We don't know what we are looking for any more than Galileo did. There is an instinct for freedom at the core of human nature, to inquire, to create. You are the countless number of people, the driving force in history. It is up to you to decide. You can duplicate me. But the question is myself actually myself?
Okay, let me explain. So this is an interactive experience that you can have with Noam Chomsky, a fake Noam Chomsky, of course. So what we did in this experience is replicating the voice of Noam Chomsky, being able to generate a dialogue. So it's an autonomous dialogue that you can have with Noam Chomsky, and it's built on thousands and thousands of interviews he's done in the past. So this is something that was then installed into a VR headset, and you had the opportunity to walk in this crazy universe and being able to interact with one of the greatest minds. And so that's one experience. Another one that we've done, and this is very great because in a month, there will be a documentary that will talk about this. So we also cloned a journalist from Radio-Canada. His name is Matthieu Dugal. Okay, it's based on this Chomsky versus Chomsky experience, and then we took it a step further in terms of reality. So here I'll show you another preview.
In this documentary series, Canadian science journalist Matthieu Dugal sets out to create his double by drawing on his personal data.
Ceci est mon corps. Tout ce que j'ai pu trouver de données de moi en ligne. On va reproduire ce que tu dis, le contenu que tu génères, ta voix, ton image. Chacune de ces dimensions-là, c'est des projets en soi.
All over the world, the host meets with experts in artificial intelligence, historians, philosophers, psychologists, researchers.
AI systems are classifying us every day in facial recognition systems, language recognition systems.
Instead of saying, what data can you collect about me, I would like to address the question of, how can you use that data against me?
We have a generation of girls getting depressed, suicidal. Silicon Valley is stealing childhood.
He tries to understand the stakes of the technology and the ethical questions they raise.
Est-ce qu'un algorithme va un jour me remplacer à l'animation?
Le constat est accablant. Entre 12 et 24 mois, un enfant est exposé à la télévision en moyenne 4 heures par jour.
Question philosophique, c'est l'identité personnelle. Dans quelle mesure c'est vous? Je pense que c'est risqué aussi, cette entreprise-là.
Si on a des outils puissants, on doit faire attention. Ça peut nous péter dans la face.
Double, est-ce que tu nous entends?
Oui, je vous entends.
Wow! C'est fou, hein?
Great. Thank you. It's at the end. Please stay. So based on these two experiences, and by the way, thank you very much to Maison Générale, to Magasin Général, sorry about that, part of who has been the creator of this documentary that will be on Radio-Canada in July. So we'll talk about these two different experiences and how can we bring an idea into reality. So we'll talk about the construction phase. Okay, so this is essentially construction in a crazy world. So first of all, what you need to understand is what do you need to create a double? What do you need to clone someone? So first, you need hearing, so that you can have a discussion with the clone. So speech to text, for instance, is a way to do this. You also need the speaking capabilities. So on the other end, speaking capabilities can be very basic with like predefined voices, or it can be more advanced, like what we've seen with Matthieu Dugal. We're now able to reproduce very, very closely a voice of someone. So this can get crazy and essentially not very ethical, to be frank with you. The in-between, you need to know what to say to the person. It's not just going to be anything. So you also need to have content creation capabilities. And then when you have this end-to-end, you also need a face, you need a visualization. Really important to be able to have the full experience. So those essentially, they're all project. And this can be tough. If you're trying to achieve a clone, like this, the two experiences that we've seen in one shot, it's going to be challenging. Instead, look at it from a portfolio of different products. So how to be able to get the speaking capabilities, the hearing capabilities, the content creation, the visualization, they can all be worked in different phases to make it easier on the creation process. So when you understand these modules, the goal after that would be to build the interaction. So it's not easy. It's not like, oh, the double, when you have the ability to create content, you can talk to his mother, he can have a discussion, he can create a rap song. It's not that way. You need to guide the way the experience will happen. So if you want to build a question answering experience, so it's going to be easier to build it as such. If you want to create a chronicle, like for instance, Matthieu Dugal is a journalist, we could have created articles. But he cannot do articles and question answering and talking to his mother in one shot. So those are all sub-projects. You need to be careful the way you design it, because otherwise it will become a mountain. So now that we've cleared this up, we have a lot of work to do before you even started to work on it. Then you need to test different, you need to be able to put it in context and test it out. Okay, so here I'll give you some examples of Noam Chomsky's dialogue. So here is an easy one at first. So how was your weekend? And then Noam Chomsky would reply, can't complain. I literally can't complain. Prediction algorithms and sentiment analysis are somewhat limited. Besides, I'm a private person. There is, however, a limit to how much I can say. So here, there's also, like, it can be 100% realistic. So it can be Noam Chomsky, like, as a whole, or it can be an interesting experience. And here, what we did, we put more information into the algorithm that told Noam Chomsky he's essentially a chatbot. So when you're starting to add a little bit of content over and above, you can create something that's a little bit more funny, something that's a little bit different. So this can be interesting. But it can also be really deep. So here, this one, what is fascism? And then it's a system of domination and control by a class over mass of people. And the people under that domination are called citizens. So if you wanted to have like a fun experience, and you get this answer, you know what, maybe people will be a little bit surprised. So that's another thing. When you have an autonomous experience, you know, you are at risk of creating something like that. So if you want to create this full experience, you need to control, and sometimes you might want to have something scripted, okay? And then at some point, you might say, you know what, now is the time to show the full power of what you can do. Ask me anything, you might be surprised. And then I'll finish on a nice note. Have you ever played Super Mario? So you never know what people can ask. And then here, I'm not really a fan. I don't really like the graphic, the music, or there's something about it that I found pretty appealing. So here, something interesting, the fact that our double understands what Super Mario is. But the problem here, it's not really fine-tuned. He said that he doesn't like it, and then at the end he said that he likes it. But after all, humans were like that. Sometimes we were saying something, and then we're saying the latter right after. So anyway, these type of interaction you can have with these double, but you need to plan accordingly. And how to do this is by planning well the way you will build your experience. And this is tough because we understand creative people. It's a lot about the creative process, and this needs to happen at the beginning. But for us developers, it's a multi-step approach because you need to understand what's going to be the experience. And then you need to build it. And it takes a long time. So at first, you need to put a project plan in place. And you need to be able to follow it. The next step is to test it out. So we call it proof of concept. You want to make sure you're able to do the things that creative are going to build. It's important because at that point, if you're not able to create the experience, or if you need to put some shortcuts, change a little bit what you want to deliver, it needs to be known very, very quickly. When this is done, this is where the magic starts happening. We call it the MVP. So it's the first iteration that you will deliver that will work. When this is done, you're bringing people who have never seen what you have in mind. Then you ask them to test the experience. And then based on the feedback, sometimes it's great and you're like, oh yeah, we did it. And sometimes it's more disappointing and you're, oh no, didn't think about this. They were really disappointed. Oh, you should never have said this word. This word would never be accepted in an experience in a museum, for instance. So you then tweak things, you fine-tune it, and you're ready to go. So here I'll leave you with, and doesn't work. I'll skip this. There are some use cases. We're talking about the experience, but there are some use cases that we can get out of the experience. Like cloning a person is not something that we'll like casually do. Oh yeah, I'm cloning people. This is this is an ideal. It's to show that we're now closer to that point. We're not there. Like it's never going to be like exactly the same person, but we're getting there. However, you can do a lot of stuff with these technologies. Like for instance, building avatars on the metaverse. This is something that's coming. There are a lot of use cases in this area. For content generation, being able to generate content for the news. There was a very interesting article in the Guardian, and this article was all built using AI. And there's even on the radio, the opportunity to take a voice, and make him a news anchor, reading text, and then you're able to get the voice you want for BBC Radio Online, and the voice essentially reads the news for you. So here, I don't really have time for this, but this is okay. We'll talk about it in the panel right after. What I just want to say is ethics, and then I'll leave it there. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Ethics, right? Okay.
Which we'll talk about on the panel.
Thank you very much.